Hello and welcome back to the channel. For those familiar with the schedule, today would normally be a upload for Star Citizen, as it is Wednesday, and I was actually planning on doing so. I had been holding out, recording a video for Star Citizen, really hoping that 3.24 would be live so that I could jump into the new update, kind of go over the new features, and showcase that on the Wednesday episode. Unfortunately, that didn't pan out, so today I was like, "Okay, cool, I gotta get a video out, let's just quickly hop in, film an hour, and a bit of video, edit it right quick, and throw it up." Um, Unfortunately, the servers are struggling right now, so when I hopped in, it took about 2 minutes to get out of the bed, and I waited probably about 8 minutes, for the elevator that never showed up. Um, so rather than me hopping into a bunch of different servers and hopefully find one that's not dying, which I'm sure there are many that are not, but rather than going through that exercise, I thought, well, let's get a video out today that's still interesting. Don't worry, Star Citizen's still going to be on the Wednesdays. Next week, I will have a pre-recorded episode ready to rock just in case if 3.24 is not out. But if it is out, I'm going to try to get some footage for that. But for this week, there is another project. So for those who saw the other project announcement that I made about the Kubelwagen, and if you're into sci-fi stuff, you're probably not too interested in that one, which is totally fine. But this project, you probably will be. Meet C2B5. So C2B5, as you can see, is a black and gunmetal gray R2D2. They use this specific model in the Rogue One film. When the team entered the Scarif base, you could see this droid wheeling kind of towards them. It was very short screen time, not really used a lot, despite it being in a lot of the promotional ads and stuff like that they used. Um, Reason why this one's on the screen is, as a member of the 501st, as most people who watch the channel I'm sure are aware, that we also have affiliated clubs, and there are many, from the Rebel Legion, who portrays the good guy characters, to Mandalorian mercs and protectors who do custom Mandos, to the Dark Empire, who do custom Sith, smuggler, or spy, to the Galactic Academy for younger members who are interested in getting involved but not quite reaching that 18 years of age, to the Saber Guild, who do choreographed lightsaber fighting and all that jazz. We have many different clubs, but one of them in particular, which has piqued my interest, is the Astromech, or droid builders. And in particular, I want to build a Astromech droid, but everyone builds R2. Like, if you look at celebration footage, if you look at DroidCon, if you look at most events, everyone has an R2D2, and for obvious reasons. He's like literally one of the most iconic robots to ever grace cinema. Um, but as a member of the 501st Legion, and in particular, I portray Imperial characters for my costumes, I wanted something that was more in line with that. So with C2P5, he is actually in Battlefront as well. If you've played the new one, Director Krennic can kind of have, um, you know, him around and stuff like that. It's pretty cool stuff. But the color scheme of him also, just I like. I mean, most of my attire is black and darker shades, so aesthetically, I find that this one looks super cool. So, um, preamble out of the way, I'm going to be building a 3D printed astromech droid to the likeness of C2B5. For those who don't know, if you are somebody who is interested in doing something very much like this, you can get involved with Mr. Badley's Patreon. So if you become a member of his Patreon, I mean, you can get some of the files for free, but this person's put in a bunch of work. There's a bunch of different files. As you can see by the backdrop up there, many different robot options. And so if you too want to build a droid and you want to 3D print it, and you're like me and you might not be the greatest at 3D modeling, um, this is an excellent Patreon to be a part of. So I don't know this individual. I've never met them before, but I was turned on to this Patreon by a couple of the other YouTubers that I've seen doing the same kind of project. And so I have two 3D printers. This is perfect. I've been wanting to build an R2 unit for quite some time, and I knew I always wanted to build like an Imperial one even before we saw this. And of course, if you played Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. There's Imperial Astromechs that look very much like this, all over the place. So this is what I'm going to be building. So this is the next project update. Now this one, fortunately, will be much faster than the Kubelwagen process because from all accounts that I've seen from the people online, with one printer, you're looking at, if you're doing it 24/7, you're looking at a couple months of printing. If you have more than one printer, which I'm lucky enough to two, and I might even pick up a third one for this project, then you cut that down, of course, every single time because you can have things printing simultaneously, and you're not as set back by print flaws. Because for anyone who has never used 3D printers and is interested in learning about them, you will have print failures. It's just inevitable. You could have all the settings tweaked, but literally a gust of air entering the area where your printer is can cause the print to cool faster than was anticipated, which can cause peeling, which can mean sometimes the object shifts on the bed, and that also then means that you're printing in the z-axis, in wrong spots and stuff like that. There are um, you know any number of things that can cause a print to fail, essentially. And if you don't notice it, like if you notice it right away, not a big deal. You can kind of fix that. Either resume printing or pull the piece off, print the remainder, and then adhere them together at the end with some, you know, either acetone welding if you're using ABS, or if you're using PLA, using some, pretty strong, you know, glue to tack them together. So, all that aside, the process of this is going to be very well documented. In the first video, which will be put up next Tuesday, the process will kind of showcase what my wife and I are doing this weekend. So this weekend, it's a matter of getting a full um, accounting, kind of. Everything I've seen is about, for the total droid, arms, the middle leg, the cylinder body, the small skirt that separates that in the middle leg, the dome, all the components, compartments, everything you see on screen here essentially ends up being about 27 kilograms of filament. Um, so, in current prices, translated into Canadian, because of course I'm Canadian, it's about 800 and some odd dollars for that. So, I probably won't be buying all of it right off the bat. What I'll do is I'll buy enough for the first segment, which I'm going to start with the dome. Pardon my cough there. The reason I'm starting with the dome is mostly because if for whatever reason I run into some snags and it takes a bit longer to do the entire thing, if I get the dome done, then I have something really cool that I can either have, featured beside me in the stream, or I can bring it to events for the 501st as I'm coming out and having it as like a display piece. And it's also just a kind of a neat little thing to have this droid uh, head essentially completed. So that is probably going to be phase one. But in the video on Tuesday this weekend, my wife, we're going to break it all down and kind of plan it out. And so next week's video will be an accounting of that, and it might even have the first few stages of the printing, because I obviously have to order the filament. But normally it comes in pretty quick because I've ordered filament before to my current address. So it's normally not a huge undertaking, and hopefully we can get some good stuff started for that. So rather than leaving you with no video today, I thought I'd at least upload the announcement for the plan, let you know that yes, Star Citizen's still going to be on the Wednesdays, and let you know that there might be some additional video series that start on the channel very soon. So thank you very much for tuning in. I sincerely hope that you're as excited as I am to see this come to fruition. If you are interested and have any questions, or you want to let me know any of your thoughts, definitely get involved in the comments before. It helps with the channel's analytics and gets more engagement. And the more engagement a video gets, whether that's from views, likes, and comments, and a combination of the three, it helps promote it to other people. And so there might be other people out here who are thinking about the same thing or at least interested in that process. So anything you can do to help spread that out and build out the channel would be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, I'm going to let you go. Bye.